You know, there's actually lots of blacks and Hispanics who support Trump. I just remembered something pretty interesting about IQ.
Okay.
You know, IQ is something pretty frightening because that's why we fear the rise of the AI. Imagine that a being with no emotion, no empathy, rises to power, and it has a much higher IQ than humans.
That's called a psychopath, isn't it? Very intelligent,
basically,
void of emotional intelligence.
Yeah. What then?
Good in a crisis.
What then?
But
yeah,
not
exactly.
much
Then
good at a party.
we are all
or
completely
being,
and utterly fucked.
Well, yeah.
We're completely boned, and you know that means that people with a higher IQ aren't always necessarily more fit to rule. There's always an understanding needed to see how the world functions, and sheer IQ without all the rest is just not good enough for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, just to give another point about my ideas about IQ. IQ is not everything. Very shortly, IQ does not mean everything. It's not everything at all. I saw many very intelligent in IQ levels people, very intelligent people, but they had zero imagination. They had zero creativity. They had zero. You know, it's like they were having this in war, for example. They were having a bazooka, and another person, for example, had just a machine gun, but they could not use the bazooka in inventive ways. Okay. All they could was shoot straight forward, no maneuvers.
The way they'd been instructed.
Exactly. Now, imagination and creativity gives you different ways of using that IQ.
If, on average, people of higher IQ will earn more money and will live longer, does that mean society is being structured in a certain way for people that have high IQs and by people with high IQ?
Reproduce less.
And reproduce less, is that right?
Absolutely. This is very interesting. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I can't say that that's down to having high IQ, but it's how it's playing out in our modern world. Is that it's said to be that people of higher intelligence have a lot less children, and we might be breeding it out of us.
You've got 20 kids, haven't you, Pavlov? I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pavlov, are you real? Huh? I'm just joking.
I'm a busy man. Yeah. I'm a busy
Let's
man.
not start.
I'm a busy man.
Okay, but then what does that say for?
I have a classroom full of my
survival of the fittest.
Right. Well, that's it.
But I've heard that on average, Eastern European Jewish people have the highest IQ as measured.
Eastern Europeans, why?
Ashkenazi Jewish.
Oh, okay, Ashkenazi
people
Jewish, yeah.
Are the ethnic group that score highest on the IQ test.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, if we ignore the Ashkenazis, the Italians are the highest IQ in Europe.
Okay, there you go. Well, in Italy, in
medium.
Yeah.
In the midterm.
But I was going to take up the having children.
Oh yes. Well, was that a pun against me? That I have 20 kids means I'm stupid.
Well, you got it.
You got it eventually.
You got it 2 minutes.
No, I got it as well. Okay.
We're just fucking with you.
Okay,
tell me what you're saying.
I got it, but
actually, I could have said it about myself. Sorry. Rabbis tended to have a lot of children, hence the good IQ gene would be passed on. But in Catholic countries, the educated class, the priests, were forbidden to have children, and it actually had an adverse effect on the IQ.
That's a good point.
Interesting.
I'm theorizing.
Could be that, yeah.
Could be.
How do you explain them having less children? I would have thought an intelligent man would be appealing to women.
Right.
Or do women like thickos that can beat people up?
All right, cool. Well, I mean, this is actually a really complicated question. There's a lot of depth psychology in there and evolutionary psychology.
Go for it. We've got 13 minutes left.
All right, cool. Yeah. So to say intelligence is always an attractive factor. Yeah, for sure. But something you were saying there about, previously about IQ should not be the highest IQ does not give you the right to rule, doesn't make you the best leader. Absolutely, of course. Because we're not computers, we're social animals. Like our social relations determine how we run society.
We were until recently.
You understand? Like we are exceptionally social. Everything we do is social. It's about one man does not survive alone in many, many, many ways. So what to say is that they've done the studies of chimpanzees, and the effective alpha chimpanzee is the one that knows how to stimulate benevolent relations with as many of the tribe or group, or whatever they fucking call chimpanzees in a group.
Yeah.
That's the one that survives, is the one that builds those relations and has the females and keeps the juveniles from murdering them.
Okay.
That's what I've heard. So it's true. Well, that's it. It's not about intelligence.
Social
it's
animals.
about understanding how we interrelate socially.
But all that is dying out because rather than socialise, we are becoming computers and we are existing online.
Right.
People don't go down the pub anymore. They just chat to each other on the internet.
Do you think this is a bad thing?
I think so, yeah.
Why?
I think so. Because I miss the old days of human interaction. But it's probably going to be cyclical, and it might mean the end of a civilization, and then we'll start again.
It's an interesting question. Yeah. Pavlov?
Maybe I should become a rabbi. I can have lots of kids then. Maybe I should become a rabbi. Where's my yarmulke?
I don't think you fit the entry requirements.
Yeah.
Oh, what are the requirements?
I have no idea.
You're not going to like
Probably circumcision. So yeah, I don't fit into the requirements.
Right. Cool.
But anyway, about the chimpanzees. Yes,
Ralph,
I agree.
From Speaker's Corner makes a lot of comparisons about chimpanzees.
Who?
Remember,
Ralph.
Ralph? Yeah.
You know, Ralph
he's a right-wing guy,
he's a right-wing guy. It's okay, don't worry. Ralph is a right-wing guy, but you know, Ralph is a weird case because I haven't actually heard him speak a lot.
Okay.
I have watched 1 or 2 videos of his. You know, I kind of disagree with him
he's always
sometimes.
bringing up the chimps.
Sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree. One time he was talking to a Jewish guy. He was a bit aggressive with him, so I don't really like that. But he has some points. I don't agree about everything. Though.
I think
there are many things I disagree
argue the case for different racial groups. Different IQ.
I think Ralph kind of gives a bit too much importance to race. But again, I only watched one video of his. I need to talk to him. I need
he may watch
understand
this.
him
He watches
better,
the channel sometimes. He may well comment. Ralph, if you've got anything to say, please add it.
I saw
in
his
the
comments.
And I think he was saying that Jordan Peterson, another character from the new right. I think
it's definitely not new. It's definitely not new right.
Is he not?
Not from my understanding. All right. Well, I mean, I can't speak for the man, but I definitely have to say he's been the strongest influence in my recent history.
Okay.
So what I would say is that if you care to look into radical right-wing groups, and especially on YouTube, you will see that they absolutely hate him.
Okay.
And that's all you need to know.
I think Jordan Peterson is very centrist.
He's an individualist.
Okay. No problem. I may have used the wrong term, and I don't dislike Jordan Peterson, but what people like Ralph like about him, I think, is that he identifies himself as a Christian.
Okay.
Number 1. Number 2, I think he acknowledges the differences in IQ scores among the races. But what Ralph objected to, despite liking all of that, he said Jordan Peterson refuses to answer the JQ, as he called
Jewish question.
The Jewish question, which is something that the right wing like to ask.
I mean, Jews are pretty intelligent people. I spoke to some Jews from Speaker's Corner. They were amongst the only people who I could actually have a relatively reasonable conversation with. And you know, it's on video one time that I think his name is Joe. I don't remember.
Joseph.
Joseph,
yes.
Exactly, Joseph.
Yeah.
Joseph, yeah, the ginger beard Jewish guy.
Right.
You know, I actually agreed with him on many things when we were talking.
Did you talk about settlements?
Who?
Did you talk about settlements?
I
hope you wouldn't agree on that. I don't.
What do you mean? What exactly do you mean by that?
Settlements
the building
in the
of settlements
occupied Palestine.
Gaza Strip, man.
I completely...
No, we were not talking about that.
We should, because I doubt you'd agree.
Well, although I completely disagree with Joseph on that, and having chatted to him,
we didn't speak about that.
We acknowledged our disagreement, but we did it with a handshake and in a friendly manner, and I can respect that. And you have to respect the enemy, not an enemy, but someone you disagree with.
Oy vey!
I am a strong supporter of the Palestinian people. Okay, it is what it is. Joseph is a supporter of Israel. And we
of the Zionists.
Who's the right wing now?
There's plenty of the right wing
now. Where's the left and right? You tell me.
Oh, now you don't know where the left and right is.
Well, is it left wing or right wing to support the Palestinian people?
Who, you or Joseph?
The distinction valuable.
Okay, so right wing nowadays. That's the problem with nowadays. Right wing is associated with, oh, bad, hates the Jews, hates other races, hates these people. Well, you just called the Jews as an enemy because you support the Palestinians.
No, I'm saying as a Palestinian supporter, people who support
in the stereotype
Israel,
of a right-wing person, you would be considered a right-wing person. And I think that's why I keep getting these questions. If I'm are you a racist? Are you a white supremacist? Like, are you a white nationalist? Which is a completely preposterous statement by itself. Like, white nationalism? What the hell is that? Where is there a nation, like, are all whites a nation? Are all whites united? They never have
Trump's
been.
America, no?
Oh, come on, man.
I know.
You know, there's actually lots of blacks and Hispanics who support Trump. I don't actually support Trump, but
I saw a tall Chinese guy once.
I don't oppose Trump either. I think Trump is, just another president. I don't think he'll change that much.
Okay.
I think people are giving him way too much importance.
Chat to Andrew, he's good. There's a guy who comes to Speaker's Corner who loves talking about Donald Trump. Oh, man. He calls him an intuitive genius.
Well, yes, his rise to power was very impressive. How he used the media in his own advantage. I greatly appreciate that. But, that doesn't mean I agree with Trump. No. I appreciate things in different characters in history that I don't like. For example, Genghis Khan. He was a very intelligent man. He was a military genius. Yeah. He was a real leader. But he ruined Asia, and he ruined Eastern Europe, he ruined the world. He killed 20% of human population.
You can agree.
You gotta appreciate the qualities of your enemy.